to kick off the career awareness portion of formally, officially. Okay, we did one that was on climate change, and that was really done by the National Climate Change Group, and that is included in the career awareness session. We've been doing all the onboardings, all of that. The webinar that we did the other day that was really available. It's available to the youth, but that was to really kind of give people an earlier idea of logistically, okay, how does the innovation challenge work? But this is the official kickoff, and it gives me great pleasure to do that of really the lunch and learns and the we do a couple of them that are in a webinar format, but really lunch and learns, and it's really intended to give to give our participants just a slice, some thinking in terms of, and some grounding in terms of the area of public transportation. And I want to introduce, for those who haven't, and these will be the individuals on our end that our youth will be really seeing, is Nat Smith, and he is our program coordinator for all of the programming portion on the career awareness side. And he's being backed up by Chris Green, okay, and Chris is our Dr. Juanita Jones Abernathy community builder intern for this year. And then we also have Isaiah is just doing a little bit of pinch hitting on this end today, but Isaiah is with us, and he's really, for those of you who have been with us with the program, Isaiah is like another set of arms. He knows this program as well as I do. He originally was a program coordinator when we all went virtual during the pandemic, and we were programming in Chicago at that point, and he has been loyally with us, but he is going to be putting the majority of his time during this year into the innovation challenge aspect of the program. So what I'm going to do is, Isaiah, if you would roll it. Something that we do with every single AYA program when we begin the year with the youth is that we play this, we give homage and to legacy and to past, okay? And once again, we were very, very fortunate to have had, I call one of the originals, Mrs. Dr. Juanita Jones Abernathy was one of the founding members of our board of directors. I was honored to have had the opportunity to serve. When I served in the MARTA as general manager for 5 years, Mrs. Abernathy was one of my board members. And she had always promised me, she said, well, if you ever do that thing with youth, you know what, I will help you. And so she was a founding board member. And that's why we named the My Beloved Community you'll hear us talk about, which is what all of our experiential portion of our program is about, which is actively getting young people doing things connected in the community. And that is the other reason why we have named the community builder internship after her. And Isaiah, if you would we start every AYA program with this, and when we will end this program during their graduation, we will end with this. And if I get misty, just bear with me.
Awesome. All right, well,
Okay,
here we go.
take it away. Take it away, I.
Most important and crucial period of your lives, for what you do now and what you decide now at this age may well determine which way your life shall go. And the question is whether you have a proper, a solid, and a sound blueprint. And I want to suggest some of the things that should be in your life's blueprint. Number one in your life's blueprint should be a deep belief in your own dignity, your own worth, and your own somebodyness. Don't allow anybody to make you feel that you are nobody. Always feel that you count. Always feel that you have worth. And always feel that your life has ultimate significance. Secondly, in your life's blueprint, you must have, as a basic principle, the determination to achieve excellence in your various fields of endeavor. You're going to be deciding as the days and the years unfold what you will do in life, what your life's work will be. Once you discover what it will be, set out to do it, and to do it well. be a bush. If you can't be a tree. If you can't be a highway, just be a trail. If you can't be the sun, be a star. For it isn't by size that you win or you fail. Be the best of whatever you are. Finally, in your life's blueprint must be a commitment to the eternal principles of beauty, love, and justice. Well, life for none of us has been a crystal stair, but we must keep moving. We must keep going. If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl, but by all means, keep moving.
Every year I messed up, okay, because he gave that blueprint to a group of youth that were in Philadelphia months before he was assassinated. And I think it says it all. So with that, here I'm blubbering all over the place, but we have kicked off. And for your thought, okay, is always keep moving. If we could give you any gift, it would be the gift of resilience and the gift that you know who you are and that everything is possible. So with that, it gives me great pleasure to turn it to the Aya team. And once again, our presenters, it'll be Nat Smith as our program coordinator. He's going to kick it off with our every year we kick off with the International Transportation Learning Center and the Transportation Workforce Center as well, that they're both, and also always deeply pleased to have Amalgamated Transit Union, our largest public transportation union in North America, that kicks off with us. So Nat, if you'll take it away, and thank you all for being here today.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to have two presenters today, Pat Greenfield and Jermaine Gibson. All right. First we'll deal with Pat. Got her profile here. Several decades of experience in labor management, legal, and workforce education. And then at the center, she develops and supports career pathways into frontline positions in transportation, and seems to be focusing on pre-apprenticeship programs and training partnerships with high schools and workforce development programs, transportation agencies, unions, and colleges. And she certainly is eminently qualified with a PhD in industrial labor relations from Cornell, and she has a JD from Washington University School of Law and a BA in political science from University of Rochester. Okay. And she'll be passing things over to Jermaine Gibson. And Jermaine began his career as a bus driver for Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority in 2011. Prior to that, he spent a decade as the United Auto Worker Union safety rep. He got the Amalgamated Transportation Union's Local 265 Joint Workforce Involvement Partnership with the Transit Authority there in Santa Clara, to establish some national standards for workforce development apprenticeships in the transit industry. He's presently the director of apprenticeships and workforce development with the ATU International, and he serves on the Department of Labor's Advisory Committee on Apprenticeships, the Innovative Clean Technology 2040 working group dealing with California's mandated zero emission standards by the year 2040. and the Transit Cooperative Research Program Practitioner's Guide for Bus Operator Workforce Management. Okay. So I hope that satisfied you, Jermaine. Did I
That's
get all
it.
in there for?
And
All
one
right,
of the
good.
things that we want to highlight for our youth, our young adults who are will be listening in on these programs is that my daddy used to always say, "You can show me better than you can tell me." So as we place a significant emphasis on the criticality of our frontline employees, but also being able to have the showing that yes, and with pride, Jermaine started as a bus operator, but he has risen. And I mean, 2011, this is what we talking about, 13, 14 years. Okay. And I remember when he and I laughed when I first met him, he said, I didn't even know anything about union, or if you'd ever asked me about whether or not I'd have been an international workforce development representative, whatever. He said that was not even in my bird's eye view. Okay. But once again, because we will be focusing very much in this program during the critical conversations element about really doing a real reassessment of our bus operator position, it just gives you some of an example of didn't make it up, of how one starts within our careers and has tremendous opportunities to be able to move up, okay, as they go along in their career. So anyway, I'm going to stop doing my little proselytizing over here on the side and let our panel take it away. Thank you, and thank you very much, Nat.
Okay.
Okay. Pat, you're on mute.
Okay, sorry, I was getting the share ready. Can everyone see this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
All right, great. Thanks so much, Bev and Nat, for the for the introductions. It's really a pleasure being back at IA. We actually never left. I mean, this is for the International Transportation Learning Center, Transit Workforce Center, one of our most critical partnerships. And as always, it's a pleasure to co-present with G, who is personally just a joy to work with, one of our critical partners, and also and ATU generally. It's nice to see new people on the line. Hello to Karita. Nice to see you there from APTA, and again, one of our partners. But let me get into the basics. I've been asked to do just an overview of a basic introduction to careers and some aspects of careers and transit generally. It's a bit of a hodgepodge by design to just, get you going and give you a taste of things, and lead into G's really important presentation too. So let me just tell you what we are. Sorry, I will put this on. There we go. So the Transit Workforce Center is the reason you see the two sets of letters by my name. The Transit Workforce Center is operated by the International Transportation Learning Center, and we are the FTA's first ever National Technical Assistance Center for Transit Workforce Development. FTA being the Federal Transit Administration, so the main government regulatory agency on transit. And our job, and it comes out of the over 2 decades of work as the ITLC, is to work on frontline workforce issues and to support the industry partners on recruiting, hiring, training, and retaining a diverse workforce. So that's sort of our general role, just so you know where I'm coming from in this capacity. So we wanted to start with what basically, sorry, don't want to, what transportation is generally, okay? There are several different sectors: airlines, highway construction and maintenance, maritime, railroads, trucking, and then transit, and which is also called interchangeably public transportation. And it's that last area that we'll primarily focus on. Now, the reason I wanted to note these, and as Bev has noted, these are very important to note, is often when you're looking at careers, these careers interrelate and interconnect, and these are all important parts of our national infrastructure. So, so that's just overview really quick on what is transportation. And then we're going to move into really what is public transportation, what is transit. So that's something that is public transportation, again, referred to as transit. What makes it public transportation, it's a government-funded system that moves people from one place to another. So, and through a range of transportation modes, like a bus line, public transportation systems connect people, jobs, and communities. Again, there are important transportation modes like airlines, but it's not public transportation. Uber and Lyft, yes, they move people, but they're not public transportation. They're not publicly funded transportation. This is the central set of arteries through communities and connecting communities. That's what public transportation and transit is. And what we work on and what we focus on is the issue of, really, because we are the workforce center, is the transit workforce. I'm trying to move this up a little. The transit workforce. And the key message that you're going to hear throughout is transit workers connect and serve the community. What you see on the right, and this is from the transit workforce website, are sample ads that have critical themes that relate to what transit workers do. My community works because I work. I connect the community, and we drive the community into a greener future. Transit provides access to jobs, schools, shopping, medical care, entertainment events. You talk to any transit worker, and they know that the center of their mission is to serve and connect the community. I want to just focus for a moment on transit's role in creating a cleaner environment, reduce traffic congestion. This is a fundamentally green industry, use of green technologies, including hybrid and electric, fewer greenhouse gas emissions, improved air quality, even where there's a huge move, and we'll talk about it in a minute, to electric and low and no emission buses. But even with conventional buses, every full-size bus takes anywhere, depending on the size of the bus, 30 to 60 cars off the road. Commuter trains can take hundreds of cars off the road. So you're talking about an industry that is helping save our environment. And because of the increase in the focus on new technologies, it's an industry, as a transit worker, prospective transit worker, that creates opportunities to work with new technologies. Green alternatives include hybrid buses, fully electric, natural gas, hydrogen. Hydrogen is one that I should add to the list, solar powered, regenerative braking, all sorts of technologies. So hydrogen fuel cell is one of the ones that's gaining a lot of traction now. The other thing is that, and this is, I believe, Dr. Scott's favorite slide, so we had to throw it in here, is that you have an industry that is increasingly moving to new technologies, and where a decade or two ago, a bus was just a bus with a few electronic things. A bus now becomes essentially a rolling set of electronics. And we use this slide just to show the transition. You started with just electronic destination signs, some fluorescent lighting, some alternator diodes. And by the time this finishes, you're talking about a fully loaded electronic vehicle with a number of complex systems that have to work together, that have to be maintained, that have to be prepared. The operators need to know how to interface with them, deal with them, use them efficiently. So it's really a whole new world and an exciting world in terms of the new technologies. So I think it's finished, almost finished popping.
Almost.
I think we're close.
Yeah, it's amazing. And they keep, it just keeps getting added to. So when you're thinking about whether or not new technology is where you want to be, there's not a better place that you could be. Okay. And we haven't even talked about fare gates. And I mean, just the whole plethora of who we are in that regard. Go ahead, Pat.
Yep. And again, this is just the bus itself. We're not
Just
even
the bus.
getting totally in the bus, as Bev says, in the facilities, that sort of thing. So there are really interesting changes and in the industry that create for exciting career opportunities. And one of the wonderful things about transit is there really is a whole world of careers inside of transit. This is a word cloud to just show you some options, and we'll talk about some examples as Bev pointed out. One of the things is it's a community that has many, many careers that you can go into, but also tremendous opportunity for movement across careers. I've not always worked in transit. I've worked in a number of different industries, and by far, this industry is the one that has offered the most mobility for folks within the system to go, so many ways you want to go. So, and as Bev pointed out, Jermaine, G is, a perfect example of one of these. And he and I both have other examples that we can talk about. There are also opportunities to get into transit. There are a huge number of people in transit at or approaching retirement, and a much higher number than related infrastructure industries. So a lot of openings that are coming up, and those openings are primarily in the frontline workforce, in maintenance and operations. Now, this seems like there must be something wrong with this. How can you have 126% of today's transit workforce that will have to be hired and trained in the next 10 years? I mean, 100% is the whole workforce. Not everyone's retiring and leaving. Where does the 126% come from? Well, that's because we're also talking about expanding systems. So systems are expanding. Systems are setting up new lines, are growing, are changing. So this is an area with tremendous opportunity at the entry level, in all the careers you saw plus more, but also especially in frontline work. Now, why work in public transportation? Good living wage jobs, career ladder opportunities. Again, these are things we can get into more detail as we talk about, options, great benefits, healthcare, pensions, sick days, vacation time, tuition reimbursement, stable and growing industry. These jobs don't go away. They don't move out of your community. You are working where you live. These jobs need to stay in the community. In large and medium-sized cities and towns, it's a highly unionized industry. So you have the protections of a union and the opportunities unionization provides, which we'll get to in a minute. And again, it is a green industry that we emphasized before, and it's service to the community. This is a community service job. In terms of opportunities to work, this is actually something that's that is a little bit in progress. If we had time, you can click and hear little career stories, but there are tremendous agency career ladder opportunities in transit. You can have a bus operator move up to be a dispatcher, to be a supervisor, to be a trainer, move into the top levels of management. You can start as a bus helper or a transit electrical helper or a bus cleaner or fueler and move up into tech positions. Again, supervisor, manager, trainers, upper management. There are so many. This is just sort of a generic sample. And then actually on the rail side, there are other ways to move. And we have examples of all these sorts of folks who have gone from entry level up through the top levels of transit. What's also wonderful in terms of when you get into a unionized environment is there are also union career ladders. Again, G is a wonderful example of this. You can move from an active member to business agent, executive board, local union president. There are positions in the international union, both elected and staff. I actually, G and I were talking about this. I know you heard about the little letters next to my name in terms of education, but actually, I would say the most useful background I ever got, I've been in several unions as an active union member. My first union was the same as G's. It was UAW. And I was an active member. I became an e-board member. I was local union president. And I eventually, in another union, ended up on international union staff. And I think that I can probably, Dr. Scott has the same experience in terms of education, but I think I can honestly say, and I will bet she agrees with me, that some of the most useful lessons that we use today is out of our work on the ground in the field. And I would also, yes, go on.
Let me say, I have to say this, okay? I started, so we're talking to our young people.
Mhm.
I actually was the equivalent of Isaiah in 1977. I had been teaching and I had used public transportation all my life in Cleveland growing up, but I never thought about public transportation as a career. And I started as a Carnegie Houston Urban Fellow on a fellowship, internship, a fellow, okay, that was supposed to be for 18 months when Houston didn't even have a system yet, okay? And then I happened to be there at the right time. I was a jackleg. I had taken quantitative methods in college, so I knew about survey construction and stuff. They were saying, long story short, I started as a jackleg planner on an 18-month fellowship, went from being a planner. I mean, so anyway, life just went, I was with them. We were rolling together, and then I went planning, civil rights, administration, went to and was boom, 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 boom. Okay. And then was up on the administrative side of the house. I used to tell people I had managed everything except engineering and construction operations. And I was in New York, and my president walked down the hall. I was over human resource. I've been in transit about 15 years. He walked down the hall and asked me, how would I like to be the vice president of surface transit in New York? And that was over all the buses and the Staten Island Rail. It has been, keep going. So I'm saying to this is exactly how it went, okay, and then continue to go. So when somebody says there are many opportunities and
Mhm.
see me, be me,
Mhm. Mhm.
it is all possible. Take it
No,
back, Pat.
No, absolutely. And I'd also, we can talk about this more, but G and I were talking about this the other day, that the other thing you learn from the ground up are critical lessons in leadership,
Absolutely.
and,
Yes.
and you bring those all the way with you. I will also, just one thing that's not on the script, but I just want to note, because the opening with Dr. King was so powerful and so moving. And one of the things that a number of folks nationally don't necessarily know is that Dr. King's I've been to the mountaintop speech was actually made to a group of striking sanitation workers. He was in Memphis when he was assassinated, because he was there to support a group of striking sanitation workers who were striking for dignity, for wages. He was, his commitment to economic justice and labor as a vehicle towards economic justice was significant. And he and actually, just a little plug for, it's a terrific documentary called At the River I Stand, which really looks at the in that historical context, the connection between labor and the civil rights movement. Very powerful documentary, and important to know sort of the core of the labor movement. So let me just wrap up before I turn this over to G. I will hand it back over. I'll stop my share. And we have a short video that was that just honors transit workers, gives you a quick sense, that we put together from various agencies' videos to honor transit workers at our Making Connections 2022 conference, Transit Workforce Center, that was in late 2022. We have another one coming up in November 2024 that at some point we'll get to talk to you about more, and working with Bev and G on this already. But let me stop share and let folks see the video, and then I will turn it back over to G.
All right. I will be playing the video now.
Thanks, Isaac.
Before being a bus operator, I was working at the DMV.
I was a stay-at-home mom.
I was a landscaper.
I worked in a medical field. I was a hairstylist.
I worked at a manufacturing facility.
Donna.
Antoine.
Yep, I'm Alfonso.
Kevin.
I'm Beverly.
I'm Angela. I'm Protective Specialist Dinkin.
I'm Officer Vertus.
I'm Grill.
Thanks so much, Isaiah. Just again, this is a brief taste, and we have some, you know, more in-depth videos of folks telling their career stories that are very powerful. And I hope folks, my computer's terrible, so mine didn't come through with music. There's sort of background music, and so you may not have heard the music, but you'll have the link to the video. I know the Aya folks will put it up so you can take a look at that. But let me go back to my, here we go. So the key on all this is that transit workers are really at the core of our community, and it is the opportunity to really move, not just move a community, but for people to have transit as a vehicle to move their own lives forward in very powerful ways is really there. And, you know, I'm excited to sort of start with the, you know, start this off with G, who I want to turn it over to. That's my contact information, but I'm going to let G, who is really emblematic of so much of what we're talking about, take it over. So
Pat.
you got it.
All right, Pat, thank you. It's always a pleasure to work with you. I really enjoy working with the ITLC and the TWC. I want to say thank you to Nat for the introduction. And Dr. Scott, as always, is a pleasure. Anything I can do for you or anything I can do to promote the importance of introducing youth to America's infrastructure. As you know, our international president, John Costa, fully supports it. Again, Jermaine Gibson, but everybody calls me G. I am the Director of Apprenticeship and Workforce Development for the Amalgamated Transit Union. As you've already heard, I was a coach operator at Santa Clara Valley Transit Authority for 11 years, where I was a ATU Local 265 member. This is definitely something that I'm super, super passionate about, and I'll give you just a little bit about myself before I started at VTA. I think one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about being in public transit, I grew up a poor kid in East Oakland, and I always tell people that transit is the one thing that can take you from an area that has no opportunities to opportunities. And a story that I always like to share about myself is, you know, at a young age, I learned very early what poor meant. And so I used to always have to make the choice between using my lunch money to buy lunch or get on the bus. And so one day there was an operator at AC Transit who I was talking to, and that day I got the free lunch. So for my free lunch people, I did have food. And I was talking to him and he said, young fella, you go ahead and get your lunch for the next 3 months. You're going to ride with me for free. And what that was he knew that the dignity it would give me by getting lunch or being able to buy lunch. Because again, if you've never had to stand in a free lunch line, it's one of those things where it can be degrading. And so transit to me is one of those areas, as I just said, where we're here to move people to better opportunities. We're here to take them to places that can take them to things that they never thought that they could do. Again, when I came into this industry in 2011, all I wanted to do was operate. I didn't know anything, as Dr. Scott said earlier. I didn't know anything about the International Union. I didn't know about these great opportunities to talk about what we do in transit. But I did know that I wanted to be a great operator. I think for 11 years, people will tell you I was the best operator this country has ever seen. No one broke like me, got you there on time. I was the best in the country. And the opportunities that I have now was something that I didn't plan, something that I didn't even know existed. And transit is that vehicle. It is that vehicle where we can give people an opportunity who may not know, you know, what they want to do in life, may not know that college is in their future or know that college is in their future. But this is a career where our members are able to buy homes and put their kids through college by doing the greatest thing in the country, and that's providing great customer service. Pat, let me go to the next slide.
Mm-hmm.
So I work for the greatest union in the world, which is the Amalgamated Transit Union. We represent the largest amount of transit employees, both in the US and Canada. We're always fighting for our members' right. But one of the biggest things that we do is we promote mass transit as a quality service to our community. As you just heard in my story, public transit is that vehicle that everybody can take to reach these different opportunities. Under our current president, international president, Mr. John Costa, back in 2019, we made a commitment to create apprenticeship programs in public transit. We wanted to make sure that if you came in as an operator, as you came in as a cleaner, you had an opportunity to move up through the different classifications that we represent. We now, and Pat, I'm sorry, I didn't sing you this over. We now have over 100 registered apprenticeship programs in 13 different classifications. I think the one that hits home for me is back in 2016, we created the first ever coach operator apprenticeship program. That was a program that is designed at recognizing that professional level that you must have to be a coach operator. And through that program, we are able to help people graduate into other apprenticeship programs. We now have bus operators or coach operators who are receiving 18 college units in California. That equals a year and a half worth of school. And then I think the biggest piece is when you see someone's face when they receive that national certificate, that journey worker card that recognizes their career as being a professional career, it is something that has really changed our union's, what we want to do with our union. We got a long way to go. We've only had 1,100 operators graduate from that coach operator apprenticeship program spread out over 8 different transit agencies. We have 256 more agencies we got to get to, but we will get to them in the near future. As Pat mentioned earlier, I'm happy to now serve on the advisory committee for apprenticeship. Our international president served on the last committee, and I was honored to be asked to come back because I think we bring something that most people don't recognize. Public transit has this huge need for people. And in having that huge need, we pay quite well. I think we haven't done a great story, haven't done a good job of telling our story in public transit, telling about the opportunities that we offer, telling about the pay that we have. How many other places still have pensions? And so this is something that we're really focused on in this next coming year of really getting out there what it's like to be a public transit employee. Pat, next one. And then we're not stopping there. I think, again, apprenticeships are so key to us because it allows for us to use our workers' voice. It allows for us to tap into the very thing that is needed in public transit, the people that do the work. Who can tell you about, a route or tell you about what the community needs more than an operator? Dr. Scott, I don't know if it was you or if it was someone else I was on a call with last year, but at any given time, we have more bus operators on the street than they have police officers and firemen. At any given time, more operators. And so we really are focused on talking to those operators and really having operators lead the conversation on how to get more people into the career. But we're not stopping there. We want to talk to our mechanics. We want to talk to our rail. We want to talk to our operators in every classification to understand what does it take to be in their field and what training and what skills are necessary. We're not just talking to them about apprenticeships. We are now creating pre-apprenticeship programs. These are programs where members or people who might be potential members can come in and find out what it's like to work in public transit. They can come out and do shadow days. We have a great program running right now at Golden Gate Transit and Local 1575, where we're doing shadow days where people can come in and find out what this career is. We're helping them get their CDL permit. We're doing a lot of things to encourage people to come into this industry. So pre-apprenticeships, job readiness programs are heavy for us. We're currently right now working on a pilot with Job Corps. And if this pilot goes well, we may be potentially partnering with 102 Job Corps across the country to really promote public transit as one of those professional careers to our young adults. So this is something that we're going to be really focused on over the next year or two and look forward to the pre-apprenticeships rolling out. Dr. Scott, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, and this is one of the things that we have really joined on, okay? And I want to thank all of the local host sponsors here. One of the things that we try to do at AYA is be kind of like, there's like this little gadfly, this little incubator, whatever, okay? But the work that has been done that was done last year on critical conversations with youth, because we were young adults, we were focusing on these frontline positions, and not just out of whatever, because we have a crisis in our industry, the front line, okay? But they gave us such insights, and if it were not for your participation in the program, they gave us such insights. It wasn't that there was so much new information that came out, but there had not been a report before that really came at the view of this from a youth-centered view. But they gave us a whole different slant on it. They said, their responses, we had over 800, we almost like 800 responses, plus the focus groups that you did. The insights that the youth gave in terms of how you look at the glass this way, you look at it with this lens. So their thing was, you're operating, would be an operator starting on the ground level, all that kind of stuff like that. We get that, but we want competitive pay and benefits. We are concerned about flexibility, and we appreciate the fact that many of your frontline positions, you can't do them virtually. We got that, but you don't have to schedule stuff the way you've been scheduling it for 50 or 60 years either, okay? And then the third thing that they said was, we want to have clear understanding of what are the career progression and advancement opportunities when we start as an operator. And the other thing they came back with is this: you need a new attitude about your operator. The operator's position it needs to be really the script that we tell about it, and we're getting better, okay? Needs to be an updated script, like all that stuff with all that technology and all that kind of stuff like that. People don't know these kinds of things. So anyway, the work that we are continuing this year now in the focus groups they said, look, bottom line, what is the difference between your operator, an airline pilot, or somebody who is a captain of a passenger vessel? Now, this was what young people said, okay? They said, as far as we see it, they're all having the responsibility of safely and reliably getting people from point A to point B, and then yada, yada, yada. And their point was, if we would argue that the operating environment with which your bus operator operates in is as challenging, if not more than the others. Now, we're not trying to do a composition, but do you understand that it was all the studies, all the research, all the everything never kind of got that lens. And so part of what we are doing with the work that we will do this year in your areas is to help us to have more of a perspective from young people. They said they wanted to help us to be able to reimagine and help to rewrite the way you look at we look and talk as a society about what the operator's value is. And that's what those focus groups and the critical conversations element of this program are intended to do. And we are intentionally kicking that off publicly during United Infrastructure Week, which is the 11th through the 17th of May this year, and hoping that it supports all of the work of sharing our story, telling our story, and doing that, and it just helps to take it to another level. So I have to put that so for all the youth that are here, that's what we need your help, okay? Because you give a voice and a freshness to how we think about things that, quite candidly, I'm 70 years old. I could never say it or think about it the way that you do. And we are very appreciative of that. Okay, so take it away. Keep taking it away.
Dr. Scott, you're spot on. Again, for the HU, we are making sure that we're listening and engaging the youth. They're guiding a lot of what we're doing. They're, again, less than 5% of our industry is 25 and younger. And so we know that we have to make sure that we're listening to their voice as we create new programs and move into the future on public transit, especially as we start talking about the conversion to zero emission buses. Pat, we can go to the next one. And again, this is just really more focused on the work that we're doing with ITLC, AYA, some of our industry partners around these pre-apprenticeships, around these listening groups. Again, I think a big piece for us is we're now starting to do programs at high schools. So not only are we working at community colleges, but we're going out to the high schools and talking to them about our careers and what their thoughts about our careers are. And what we're finding is a lot of people just don't know what we do. And so I really appreciate giving them clear career pathways and showing them you can go from here to here to here. It has been so key for us. I think that's, again, one of the reasons why we've created over 13 different apprenticeable occupations. I'm happy to say that as of the beginning of this year, now we have rail operator apprenticeship programs. So just like our bus operators, our rail operators can also receive their journey worker card and receive college credits as well. So we're doing a lot to listen to the youth, and we're starting to work, with different community organization groups and really work with them as well. One of our locals in Washington, D.C., Local 689, has opened up their union hall to not only talk to people about the careers in transit, but we're finding some people don't have GEDs. So we're helping them get their GED. Some people don't have interviewing skills. So we're helping them with that as well. And what I love about that partnership is WMATA, DC Circulator, and Fairfax have all signed on. So anyone that goes through our ATU program at Local 689, they put a number on the top of the application and it bumps them up in priority and hiring in. So we're also really focused on the partnerships. We know from a union standpoint that we can only do so much by ourselves. It is going to take engagement. It's going to take collaboration with transit agencies to really make this work. They have the need for employers and we have the need for members. And so working together to really create these pipelines to get people in is going to be key. Pat, next slide. And as you can see, the role that we play with working with the ITLC and the TWC is so important. Pat, as you can tell, I enjoy working with. She always gives me the encouragement and support that I need, and that is exactly what we need as we work with transit agencies and locals, and along with getting people in. Is a lot of people need support. And that really is at the heart of a lot of the work we do with the Transportation Learning Center. I think one of the things that opened my eyes, and me and Pat was just talking about this the other day, is I've been working with the Transportation Learning Center since 2015, where for twice a year we would go from transit agency and local or transit agency to talk about peer mentoring programs and apprenticeships. The mentor piece is another thing for me that really changed my career. Again, starting in this career, I had a lot of things going on in my personal life, and my mentor, Miss Rhonda Knox, her giving of herself, supporting me, calling me, checking on me. I tell people all the time, if you've never operated a vehicle, whatever is going on in your personal life, when you get in that seat, it's magnified by 1,000. And so having a mentor, having someone that you can go to and say, hey, I'm having a bad day, and they can give you words of encouragement, has led to us. We have 53 mentor programs across the country. Our retention rate right now is between 88% and 94%. I have 15 transit agencies who are no longer hiring for operators is key for us. And so, again, the work with the ITLC and TWC of getting out those metrics and getting out those stories will help us bring on more transit agencies into these partnerships. So, and then the work with you, Dr. Scott, I've really appreciated being able to talk to the youth. I've really been able to appreciate it to tell them the different things that transit has to offer. And I think it's powerful when you could tell them that, I have an international president who started off cleaning trains, right, and now is responsible for 203,000 members. And now, is affecting policy and different things like that. So again, I really appreciate that partnership. And I think we got
Jermaine, thank you. And I want to give on that note is as we have done the programming, and we've piloted different ways, but I'll never forget that when we did the program in Chicago, we had breakout rooms. Mm-hmm. And the presidents of the unions in Chicago at Chicago Transit Authority spoke to as we broke the youth up into different breakout rooms, and they were speaking to them one-on-one in terms of all, and we had like 65% young women that were in that program that year. And I cannot tell you how impactful those conversations were, because everybody was so real, okay? And it was just a beautiful thing to see. So I think that whole part, so I say to you too, all the partnerships and everything, and for everybody in the room that as we speak to our youth, okay, is that nobody can convey the magic and the opportunities of our careers and these positions and what we do better than all of us, okay? And so that's really the gift that you give, okay, is the gift of being able to pass it on and really share. It's extremely powerful, just powerful, powerful, powerful. So G, thank you so much. Let's see if we have any questions from the floor, okay? And if not, we got a few questions.
I have one.
Okay.
Yeah, I have one. G, I wanted to ask you about since we've talked about zero emission vehicles, what sort of, how do you see career opportunities developing in that area? Because that's something new. And what's going on there?
Yeah, no, I'll tell people all the time that our industry is definitely changing. We are definitely moving from rebuilding engines and transmissions to working more on computers. As Pat Slide demonstrated earlier, most of these vehicles now have over 100 different computers on it. And we're going to really need technicians who can diagnose, use laptops, use multimeters. And so for the mechanic, it's changing. We also see that there's going to be new careers because of this technology. We're looking at, from an ATU standpoint, who's going to maintain all these battery electric chargers that you're going to need, whether en route, in depot. That is going to bring on a whole new workforce. We are currently looking at doing a registered apprenticeship program for battery electric chargers. There is one that exists right now for battery electric cars in LA, and we're looking at how can we model that for bus. And then when you start talking about hydrogen fuel cell, I mean, that's a whole nother world in itself. And we know that that's going to create more opportunities. And so we're embracing the transition over to zero emission, and we're really looking at how can we train people in a safe way, in a way that gives them the skills to maintain that new technology, and what are going to be those future opportunities that we can start promoting to the youth now that we're going to need when you have, an agency like, New York, where everything is 100% battery electric.
Right.
And I would add, it's a really exciting time to be in transit because of all these changes, and folks, who go into this because of these. I mean, technology's always changed historically in transit, but the rate of change has increased. And, folks who go into this field, you're going to be lifelong learners. And one of the things that I really appreciate about what ATU has done with their apprenticeships and their partnerships, for instance, with community colleges, if they've created opportunities for folks to learn, to grow, to develop, to add to their expertise, add to their certification, and actually at the same time get college credit. So they're also not, this old notion of I'm either going to have a career or college. It's not an or, it's both. And that's what these positions have really, that's what these apprenticeships and partnerships have really built.
Okay. Well, I tell you, I want to thank, I know we're coming to the top of the hour, and I'm going to be respectful of everybody's time, but I really, really appreciate, as always, this great opening. You're going to have me on tomorrow, and I'm going to talk, I'm going to add to this, okay? Because what I'm going to share is, people talk about, we say sustainable mobility, and we say, well, what's the clean energy transition? And to talk a little bit more about what are the other kinds of cross-sectoral kinds of opportunities, other kinds of career opportunities, In addition, I mean, like when we say it's like exponential, okay? It's land use, it's planning over there, it's resilience officers, it's public health, it's all that. But these things really, because when you focus on how we started, what do? We are the people, part of the group that make normal happen, and we are the ones that provide access to opportunity, okay? And that opportunity is within our organizations and with critical partners and stakeholders that are also a part of our extended family. So we just trying to give young people all, and the thing about it, you don't have to stay in one track anymore. You can be public, you can be private, you can be academic, you can be community-based, you can do energy, you can do transport, you can go water. It's all kinds of different connections, and you can move back and forth between them, and you should think to do so. Okay. So anyway, so for that conversation, join us for tomorrow. Yes, Cheryl.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Holyfield, and I'm with the Wave Transit System here in Mobile
Yes,
under
ma'am.
Diamond Dash.
Yes.
As I think you've been talking with Jarvis, my
Yes.
co-person, I've been in transit. I'm actually over finance, and I also write the grants for the city of Mobile, transit grants. So I know that I'm pretty familiar with all the areas and opportunities offered in transit. My problem here in Mobile, and I think where Jarvis and I have hit a wall, is how do we recruit these people to become a part of this program? So in listening to G, I'm listening to your apprenticeship programs and everything, and maybe you might not be familiar, but Alabama is one of the 2 states that do not support public transportation. So
We
there are
know.
no state funding or anything, but I guess I know for a fact it is so many job opportunities in transit, but I'm trying to figure out, who do I contact? Like if we go to colleges and stuff and try to recruit someone, what area of study are we targeting? Because in your 4-year colleges, they're more on your academic. If we go to the trade schools, the mechanics, yes, I can see, but what area do you target for like operators or people to get into? Like, I know a lot of engineers with FTA, they have engineering degrees that which produce your planners and your grant writers. I mean, it's all kind of jobs in transit. But I guess my thing is, who do we target? How do we get this age group to know about transit?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, you must have local 770.
Yes.
Yeah. And so one of the things that we've done from an ATU standpoint is we're really encouraging our locals to get out there, get into the communities. If they have union halls, open them up. If not, still get out there and make sure that you are using and giving our members the opportunity to tell their story back to their community. I can go into again, me being from East Oakland, I can walk into a community center, or I can walk into a church, or I can walk into a grocery store and say, hey, I work at such and such transit agency, and here are some of the things that it's done for me. That has been the key for all of our programs across the country, is really allowing the people who do the work to share their story. And what we found is they're able to connect, right? If I've never driven, it's real hard for me to get you excited about driving if I don't know what it's like to work the extra board or work, splits. I always tell people, being an operator, again, you have the core of giving back to the community, but you're your own boss with a corner office, and your view changes every single second. All right. And then again, when we start talking about college credits, and this is why I am so big on apprenticeships. When you create that internal apprenticeship, then I can go and say, hey, have you thought about being an operator or being a mechanic? And here are some of the college credits that you can get that will go towards such and such degree, while at the same time earning a living and making money. That has been the key for us to get people in, is combining that college credits with having a job and making money.
Okay.
And then
And
Cheryl.
the other thing I'd like to
Go
just
ahead,
add,
Pat.
everything G said is absolutely on target. It is,
Mhm.
please feel free. Our job, and we work a lot collaboratively with G on these sorts of things, but our job as a Transit Workforce Center is actually to provide support for these sorts of initiatives. I mean, and so first of all, take a look at our website, transitworkforce.org. If you don't
Okay.
have that, we can get that out to you. We have a recruitment toolkit. We have some terrific case studies with initiatives. And I would emphasize that what G said, frontline worker involvement in going out into the community is just the key to success in virtually every sort of recruitment. We also
Right.
have models on partnership. My colleague David Stephen, who actually was supposed to present today, but he totally lost his voice, is a terrific resource. He's, worked with, he leads a lot of our recruitment work. He's worked with agencies, community groups, partnerships. And again, we work collaboratively with G, and we can offer a whole range of services. So please reach out to us or email me, pgreenfield@transportcenter.org. I can put that in too, and because we'd love to follow up. This is our job.
Okay.
Yeah. And Cheryl,
Excuse me.
the other thing that happens with the schools is that and this is another place where Pat and them are very useful. A lot of times I was a professor, okay? I didn't know how to even think about, because I didn't think about public transportation in
Right.
that way. So even the way I came out of political science, didn't have nothing to do out of, you know what I'm saying? It really did. So like when you
Yes.
say like, well, which career, what were you tell them? Political science, okay? But there's a way to, once you can get to the faculties and stuff like that, and that's one of the things that Jarvis, that's gonna take some work, but we can do it. I'm at, University of South Alabama, and we got to get these academics as well. You got to come at it a lot of ways of understanding how they can present things in their coursework, okay, and others have already done it, so they can have models, okay, that actually open up their eyes to, oh, we never thought about that, okay, and so it takes it on all levels, but the first one is nobody tells the story, and that's why in my own community, then the respected voices of people that they know, my church, my community, my fraternity, all that is, and that comes from the operators. I mean, so that's the, starting out, that's real. I mean, that's just key. So no, we on the march. That's it. We had, I don't know, Jarvis was laughing with you. We had church drops taking place on over the way.
Well,
Okay.
that is a good idea with here in Mobile,
Yeah.
the community centers, and like you said, through the local church. I think
Yeah.
actually we would reach more people through the local church than we do the school,
Absolutely.
because you
Mhm.
have that huge break in the school system. Even like right now, everybody is concentrating on graduating
Mhm.
and just getting ready for the summer. So that is an idea that
The-
definitely we can take under consideration.
There's actually one of the case studies we have that Jean knows well, because it's one of the ATU properties in Minneapolis. There is a program, OACC, Operators Engaging and Connecting with Communities, and they have a program of operators going into the community centers, going into the churches, ideally in the communities they all came from or live in now, and really talking and reaching out. And, again, we have some sample case studies, but, and this is something also, again, my colleague David has worked on a lot in terms of community-based work. So please, all this is right. And I think you're on the right track. We'd love to support you as
Well,
much
I
as
would
we can.
definitely pull up your website and just look at some of the ideas, because like I said, this is new, but one of the things I do when I interview people, I ask them to tell me what they know about transit. And of course, it's always, well, you ride the bus. And I by working with grants and stuff, I actually tell them just things here in Mobile from grants I've written, that how it builds infrastructure in a city,
Yes.
and that it goes way beyond just riding the bus, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I educate them then. But the thing is, like you said, getting the word out there for those who are not coming to interview for a job, to
Mhm.
educate them on that so many opportunities in transit. Transit is huge. You know,
It
I'm
is.
getting
It
ready to
is.
retire in a few months, but
Oh, no, you don't. Right.
I am. But
No, you.
I'm gonna stay on and work next year part-time consulting and getting involved, but
Mm.
um, not full-time. So I'm still gonna work with the transit, and I've worked quite a bit with South Alabama Regional Planning Commission. We've
Great.
worked a lot with them, so
Yeah.
it's a lot to learn. We got a lot of new people here, employees, so they're still in the learning phase
Mhm.
themselves, you know. But
Mhm. Mm.
I was just thinking of ways I could assist Jarvis, and just listen to G talk and hearing all the programs. I'm like, there's so many great ways to do this, but we got to figure out a way how to do this, because this is a small city, and you sometimes deal when you don't have the availability of funds, you got to find a way. But like you said, maybe we can utilize the operators, create documents and stuff for them to give to certain age groups. And as
Yes.
he was speaking, it was giving me kind of ideas of, okay, we might can do this, you know, because we're
Absolutely.
on a deadline and we haven't recruited anybody for the program yet.
That's it. But that's okay. But you are okay. That's it. And so it's coming. In fact, they have the Africa Town Heritage Foundation on Friday has a retreat, and I'm going to be there all day. And
Okay.
they were the ones that actually did the church drops over the weekend. Okay. And so
And this is
anyways,
Friday of this week.
it's Friday of this week. It's 9 to 3. Okay. And so they're
Okay.
having and so they asked me to serve on the advisory committee. And so anyway, so I'm going to be over there. So and then the Kappa's like, it's a whole bunch of stuff going on, but nothing's more important. I got to get to G on this than 770, local 770. Okay. Now say
Right.
will be unbelievable. G, let me go to you because you had your hand up to add to this.
He's on mute.
Oh, he's on mute, or maybe I'm on mute. G, come off of mute. Okay. G, is he trying to come off of mute? G.
Sorry, I
Okay.
lost the internet for a second.
Oh,
I
okay.
was just going to say that you can also look out. We do have another partnership ATU is putting together now with HBCU 2020. We want to
Okay.
make sure that we are also promoting these jobs at HBCUs as well.
Absolutely.
And so
Yep.
that's a new partnership that we'll be rolling out this year as well.
And the other
Okay.
thing about it is that's one that's in line with us because Alabama, the state of Alabama, has more HBCUs than any other state in the United States when you look at the 2-year and the 4-year institutions. Okay.
Yeah.
And so it's all like that's why when Jarvis and I were talking the other day, and the other thing I can tell you, I went to Birmingham. You're right. Well, you know your community, but Alabama is one of the only two, I heard 4, but 2 that don't have state funding to transit. But I went up to Birmingham for the State of a State of the Union address. Actually, Damon was there, and all of the state transits are forming a coalition
Right.
on this whole thing of going to the Capitol to finally work on trying to get that turned or change. So there's so much good stuff happening, and swear to God, we can, if we all work together in partnership on this, we can do it. I was very impressed. They had every single public transit GM went up to Birmingham to listen
Right.
to their State of the Union, and they have been really collaborating about getting a change in the state legislation on this whole thing of for transit. So it's a lot of good stuff happening. Okay. Nat, and then you close us out and we'll be respectful. This is great. Yeah.
Yeah, the one thing that, surprised me, and I was equally surprised with you when we moved down here to Alabama. about the number of HBCUs. And that's because Alabama has junior colleges
Right.
that are counted as HBCUs.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I would think that that would be a particular, you know, because I know they have training programs, various welding, and, you know, everything. I know we have Bishop State here, but then there's also, I don't think Faulkner is not considered to be an HBCU, but it's a junior college down here. I know they have a program over Williamson High School where a lot of kids go to Faulkner for certain programs that they're doing, and I'm certain that those are technical programs that they're involved in over there.
Yeah, you actually have the Bryant Center too.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, you have Faulkner and the Bryant Center that the kids from high school go to. So those
and I would think that those JCs would be particularly fruitful.
We got our work to do, but that's all right. We own it, okay? And Miss Hollifield, you shouldn't have said what you said about, oh, I might be, you know, I said, oh, yes, indeed, a recruit, okay? So everybody, thank you so much. And Karina, I can never thank American Public Transportation Association enough for all of your support. They have been a long-standing, and I saw FTA Ken Blacks, he's off now, but one of the things that I can share with everybody is that DOT has been very, very interested in the virtual part. They believe that our innovation challenge virtual aspect of it is the innovation. And so, like I say, a lot of the things that we do, they're just like these little incubators. And then you just want it to go on and go be prime time, okay, and work on the next thing. And it wouldn't be possible without APTA and the center at ATU. There's so many partners. Moneta Institute is on here, or Alvarina and them have been here. So we just, we've been very, very, USDOT, we've been very blessed. And it's all because of you. So thank you so much. Okay. Everybody, peace. Okay. Nat, did you have something you want to close out with? Oh, you're on mute. Okay.
Yeah, I know. No, I don't. No.
Okay. All right. Everybody take care. And tomorrow we'll be talking about more careers. Okay. Take care.